Rules on methane emissions is the 84th environmental rule to be targeted by the president.
First, tonight, do you remember when Vice President Dick Cheney accidentally shot a guy in the face? You remember when that happened?
Okay, so we had an 83-page IG report out yesterday, and it's back to the Cheney. I'm surprised they didn't throw in Halliburton just for the heck of it. I mean, what is this? Are these people serious?
Oh, Laura, I am so looking forward to the next year and what's left of this year. I mean, these people, as more and more, as we get more IG reports about what happened with the deep state, as it were, with the FBI and all of this sort of thing, these people are going to be put in an impossible position of just ignoring major news. And they're going to look like fools when they do it. And frankly, they can't help themselves. They're not news. They're narratives.
I mean, people say Trump shouldn't say fake news, these vaunted institutions. Well, maybe if the vaunted institutions actually started doing their job, the phrase fake news wouldn't resonate with anybody. It's only resonating because they're doing stories on sea otter health last night instead of doing stories about what Comey was up to. I mean, come on. All right, Jeffrey and Tammy, thank you so much. Great to see you tonight. And if they weren't ignoring yesterday's Comey report, well, media hacks were spinning it. So to react to the best and brightest at other networks, let's bring in John Yoo, former Deputy Assistant U.S. Attorney General. John, great to see you as always. But I want to begin with this from CNN's legal analyst, Ellie Honig.
What I think we should not lose sight of is none of this is any sort of vindication for Donald Trump. It doesn't change anything about what Comey was writing about in those memos, which was Donald Trump demanding loyalty of him and Donald Trump trying to get him to shut down the Flynn investigation. Those are still, I believe, obstructive acts. And today's finding on Comey has nothing to do with clearing Trump of that.
Okay, John, how did he turn the IG report, which is slam Comey, short of, charging him or recommending charging him, and turning into, well, Trump's not vindicated? This is like cuckoo for Cocoa Puff stuff.
Laura, I'm sad to say after I read the IG report, Trump didn't obstruct justice. Trump freed justice. Trump freed the Justice Department of a man, a self-righteous crusader, who rejected the results of our constitutional system and democracy that was President Trump won the 2016 election. And then he decided the normal basic rules of the Justice Department didn't apply to him in his crusade to stop President Trump. And that basic rule is we don't, as Justice Department prosecutors or FBI agents, willingly and freely share the results of confidential investigations with the New York Times or the press to attack people we don't like. We keep those things confidential in order to pursue successful investigations. If Jim Comey had been a normal Justice Department prosecutor or a line FBI agent, he would have been fired on the spot for what he did in the IG report.
Yeah, no questions asked. And, John, here's MSNBC's legal analyst, Julia Ainsley's take.
For people who have been talking to Justice Department employees and former Justice Department employees today, they say Horowitz completely misses the context here. And it's like if he were to charge him, and if he referred it to the Justice Department who declined to charge him, but it's like punishing someone for speeding on their way to put out a fire.
John, speeding ticket,
again,
is that analogous?
I think that's ridiculous. This is a guy who should never have been FBI director. Look at what he did. He put the country through 2 years of an investigation. It took 2 years of Bob Mueller to find out that the whole thing was groundless. And Jim Comey, because he didn't like Donald Trump, broke all the rules. It's not just like speeding. These are the basic rules that govern the Justice Department. And what did we get in exchange? 2 years of wasted time and effort, not just the cost of the Mueller report, to our whole political system, which delayed the workings of a democratically elected president to get on with his agenda. That has been a disaster for the country.
John, here is the host of Hardball, prompter's out, Chris Matthews.
You know how he knew Hitler was coming? Because people in the British government leaked stuff to Churchill so he could put it out about the military buildup by the Germans. You know? Sometimes there's a justifiable cause here.
Churchill, Hitler, John.
I can't even tell what he's talking about. This is, again, I think the real problem here was Jim Comey, not Donald Trump. As you said, Laura, it's really incredible. This IG report is a damning indictment of someone who's an FBI director, someone who committed many of the abuses that J. Edgar Hoover did against Martin Luther King. And this was, again, spreading information from FBI files to damage and harm people when he wasn't going to prosecute him. And this is a guy, I'm afraid, who should never have been FBI director. I got to say, actually, after reading the IG report, one of the most important things Donald Trump ever did, one of the best things he did for the country, was actually to fire Jim Comey.